Hey, what's up, YouTube? Welcome back. I have a very interesting set of races to show you this week. I went back into the Forza Touring series with the goal of raising my safety rating. And let me tell you, this was probably the most dirty, scrappy racing I've ever been a part of. Probably 3 hours straight of just dumb driving. We start off with Road Atlanta. And of course, a million cars already going off. We're getting tons of bumps and collisions. Drop all the way down the 10th right away. We're going to get stuck behind this red Honda Civic, which in about 10 seconds we're going to watch just get murdered. Partially our fault. We give him a little bump and then he taps the car in front and just doesn't catch it. And then a guy on our right tries to nosedive there and kind of just sends us off a little bit. Lose quite a bit of speed and start going side by side. This blue car decides to be smart and just go across to both of us, so we both just, lose a ton of speed. And you just see the penalties racking up on the top right. It was just 3 hours of really bad driving. This first race was not the worst one, but it was definitely a bad start to the day. This guy sneaks through the two of us. I catch his slipstream and try to pull into it, but this guy wants to take it from me, which is fine, but he kind of puts me into the grass here, and I'm just trying to do whatever I can to stay on the road. He brakes early, which kind of lets us take the line through, but he just nosedives anyways and takes the spot. Now, this red car right here, somehow, I've never seen it happen, he gets into a ghost state and gets hit and spins out. I don't know how he was able to be hit like that while ghosting, but, I'm not going to ask any questions. Forza questionable code. Now, we're starting lap 2, and again, this guy just refuses to leave any space. He was on the far outside and straight up pushed us as far in as he could to take the spot. Now, it's early in the race, and again, the goal was to get my safety rating up. So I am not trying to be, aggressive against any other drivers, but when you're in a lobby this low of safety rating, it's just impossible to not bump other guys. I mean, those penalties alone should speak for themselves. Now, he goes deep, which allows us to easily get the overtake on him. Another car off the track. And we're now in 5th place, feeling real good about ourselves. We're starting to attack the Civic in 4th, who happens to be a very, very slow driver. I don't know how he wound up being in 4th place. It explains why the guys in front of him are so far apart, or ahead of him. I get to his outside, and then he just starts to drive into me. I'm not even sure why. I went into the replay, and I even pulled up his inputs, and he just turned into me. He just didn't want to give up his position. To make matters worse, he got 0 penalty for it. So, whatever. Thank you, Forza. We're in 15th now. Used to be in 5th. Probably was going to get 4th. And now we have 10 laps to try to catch back up. And you're not going to believe me. We do end up catching up to that super slow Civic. He was just that bad. We get pushed off a little bit there. I would say it's probably a result of me being a little aggro, but the Civic was also very slow. I tried getting by him, and he just wasn't letting me have anything. You can see in the mirror, a black Audi catches up, and he wants to get by him, and he decides, nuh-uh, no one gets by me. Shoves him off the road, whatever. Now, we're on lap 6. We're starting to sneak back up. We're in 8th place. Just, catching back up to the guy that took us out. Look who it is. He's got 0.5 seconds of penalties from going off track. Nothing for that disgusting, crash. I'm going to try to overtake him here. Going to go on the inside and just send it by him because I don't want anything to do with this guy. It ruined my race, basically. He shoves me right off. Terrible driver. I mean, he didn't even try. He just rammed the back of me, pushed me wide to take the spot. So I go on the inside here, and I brake so late, it just doesn't even give him a chance to turn around. I just, Max Verstappen him. Just tried to force him off track to make him lose a bunch of time. And we won't see him again. And now we are jumping into lap 11, where we've gotten up to 7th place. And look at that. 2 cars in front of us. Probably can get maybe back up to 5th. This guy goes off. Look who it is again. It's our favorite Civic, and he just shoves us off. Maybe it's him trying to get into the slipstream of the car in front. But, I don't trust this guy at all. I would not be shocked if he just saw a car coming by and pulled in front to prevent the overtake. Because this lobby, or at least this safety rating, matchmaking, whatever, it feels like most guys would do whatever they can to prevent being overtaken. We're going to finish this race in, I think it said 6th place. And we're going to take that positive momentum and bring it into Mount Panorama, which it's just got to be a much better race, right? We're going to start out in 8th place here, and we didn't move up in safety rating at all because of how many bumps and bruises we got in the last race. And we're going to get a terrible start because this car just completely forces us off the track. He had all the space in the world, but whatever. This is just the type of people I'm racing with today. Again, forces someone else off. I mean, what is this? These guys are scrapping with each other, and the game decides, you know what? I did it. I got the penalty when I was just the third party, and they're bumping and whatever. Thanks, Forza. So we're going to take that 2 seconds and just write it off and pretend it didn't happen because I know I did nothing wrong. We're going to send it on the inside up here. Car off right there. We're going to almost get this overtake, but just not able to pull it off. It's just a little too hard to get by him. It's so hard to make overtakes on the uphill at Bathurst. It's just the road's so thin and everyone's going so fast. One wrong nosedive and both the cars are going off. Now I'm going to sneak up on the inside here and just get a little tap on him, which shoves him off. I feel kind of bad, but at the same time, I know I left him space. He definitely hit me as well. Run in the back of that guy. Not quite sure why he didn't ghost. Just making a bunch of, I guess, excuses for all these crashes, but I swear I'm not this dirty. We're going to get a nice clean overtake on him just because we got that turn in not much better than he did. And now we're sitting in 7th. Lap 2, and we're chasing down 6th place. He takes this turn quite awfully, which allows us to just zip on by him. And look at that, he doesn't go in front of us. That's how you do it. Don't just go in front of the car that's going to overtake you. Now, I try to take a good line through here, but I'm not quite sure what his line was, but we bumped. Just an incident, and I didn't feel like anything was, I guess, intentional in that. And now as we make it to the downhill section, we're gonna run into some more drivers. We're about 4 seconds behind 5th place right now, but as you see the timer go down, he had a little bit of an accident, which allows us to really pull into, I guess, his rear view mirror. Now we're on full attack. Try to catch up to this guy. F7D Diamant. If I'm pronouncing that right. Now, going again, turn 1, another little accident here. I don't know what happened. This guy went off. I'm going to pull into the slipstream and just try to use it to slingshot myself by him, get an easy overtake, and we're going to slide into a nice 5th place. Still only a couple seconds behind 4th place, who was the guy that crashed on the downhill section. This guy tries to make a smart move and take on the inside, but I closed that off. Now, as we go into the downhill section, yet again, another crash. I get a little optimistic and wanted to drive through him, but I see that it was flashing a lot, so I knew he was going to stop ghosting pretty quickly. And I kind of start to sneak in behind him, get ready for this draft, but the guy behind mistakes the turn, I guess, and takes himself out. I guess it happens. I've done that before. That's a tricky turn. But now we're in 4th place, really close behind 3rd place. A podium is looking like it's possible. This 2-second penalty that we have is quite annoying, but I think we could definitely overtake this guy and try to get that 2 seconds window, but he's going to make it a little tricky for us. We get the overtake there, but, you know, being the dumbass, he decides to absolutely nosedive right here. I mean, it makes no sense. He hits me and kind of pushes me off. I don't know why he would try to nosedive there when he could just sneak behind and get the slipstream and zip by that way. Instead, he decides to, you know, risk both of our races just to get the overtake and then give me the draft so I can overtake him. So right here, I'm not gonna be too bold. I think I brake early, let him have it. It's not worth it. I'm not gonna try to get any more penalties than I need. Kind of works out. I wind up side by side. He squeezes me so close to this wall that I just kind of I lift off. I'm not trying to ruin my safety rating. That was the whole point of doing these races. Sitting right behind him, driving uphill behind another car. This is impossible. This was the scariest driving. I didn't trust him. I could barely see through his window, and I knew the safety rating. It wasn't worth trying to do anything silly. Now here he destroys me. I try to catch it, but in catching it, it takes him out and he goes off. What does the game do? It gives me a penalty. I don't know why it gave that to me. He almost ruined both of our races, and I catch it, and then the result of me catching it was a slight bump. He can't catch it. He goes off. I get penalized. Whatever. Thanks, Forza. Whatever this penalty system is at the moment needs some serious rework, because it just feels like the most rudimentary if-then statements of if last contact, then give penalty. It's stupid. But now we're in third place, and the red Audi behind, we're starting to build some time. I realized that the uphill and the downhill were much better for me, pace-wise. He just couldn't keep up with me. So I'm kind of pushing to try to make as much of a gap as I can so he gets zero slipstream, and it works out pretty well here. We're going to go into the pit, which shoots us back out in the 5th place. We're behind F7T Diamond again, who didn't pit, and he's battling with someone else. So, you know, I'm thinking, all right, 4th and 3rd are fighting. I have a chance. But he pits, which is great. Immediately puts us in the 4th place, and time to hunt down 3rd place again, who happens to be about 11 seconds ahead and is already pit. So it's not looking perfect, but look at that again on the top left. Our star 3 guy, our red Honda Civic, is in front of us again. Honda Civic, I meant Audi. So he has to be on hard tires. So he was able to just survive the race, not pitting. I'm not able to get the podium because of it. So I guess GG's to him. He played it smart. And we got 4th place. And now we're going to go into another race with, you know, that positive energy. Every race so far we've done better and better. But this time we're at Silverstone. We're starting out in 12th place out of 18 players. And yet again, this is going to be another race that just is screaming low safety rating. We're going to get a nice overtake on a couple of cars there, and we're going to see probably a bunch of cars hitting each other here that allows us to sneak through. I don't know how we pull off that overtake, just fit the car in between both of them. Sitting in 10th place, just trying to race as clean as possible, sneak behind, get into the draft, and they're fighting, so I just am able to kind of pull to the side of them. Guy behind me gets through, and now all of a sudden we're going almost 3 wide, 4 wide. I'm able to somehow overtake them, but at the result of me going off extremely wide. Luckily, I don't get any penalty, although I almost die from being rear-ended there, and I just don't know what to do. Almost take this guy out, push his front in to straighten him out. Like I said, this window of racing that I did, the 3 hours, was just so scrappy. Everybody was scrappy, to the point where I felt like I couldn't race clean because it was just constantly trying to avoid other drivers. Now, we're back in 14th, and we get a nice overtake on those 2 cars because they just both parked on the apex, unable to get by each other. And now we're going to start chasing down 9th place, but the guy behind decides he's going to try to go side by side through this first turn. I decide it's not worth it. I'm going to let lift off. I'm not going too wide with anyone in this lobby. I'm done. I don't trust anybody. Almost, you know, get a nice overtake there, but the opportunity wasn't actually there. But we're gonna try to take this exit as clean as possible, get into their slipstream, and he ends up passing the guy in front of him, this blue car, which I almost was able to do myself, but he closed the door, and now we're just gonna, you know, sit behind him and get his slipstream. Pull to the inside, try to, you know, nosedive, which I'm almost able to pull off, but he just gives very little room. I'm not even upset. That was good defense. But now we have a car behind that's a little eager to get by, so I'm a little anxious. Did not mean to bump him there. I actually didn't expect him to go as wide as he did. I was staring at my mirror. But this turn right here, I feel like, is probably the most important turn in the race. It opens up the straight. Again, another guy who decides, don't overtake me, you're staying on the grass, I don't care. I don't know why I keep getting other drivers that just assume that it's okay to, you know, push another car. I mean, look at this. Come on, dude. Get out of here. I don't understand why people drive this way. He tries to pit maneuver me, so I just pause and let him go through. Again, thank you, Forza, for, you know, not immediately, you know, expelling this guy for this piss-poor driving. We're able to make the overtake and get by him, but I can't believe that a car in this lobby at like 48,000 skill rating out of 5,000 would try to pit maneuver. Explains the B rating, but we're going to go wide here and somehow pick up a penalty. I feel like I took that line the same every single time I went through that corner, and it decided that time I went too wide. So we pick up a small penalty. We pit, and now we are in an 11th place. So it's not looking super hot, but we haven't really been murdered yet. So far the race, I would say, has been a win. Although we almost got murdered by that blue car. We're going to sit behind this Golf now in 10th place. You rock, 70-90. Not really able to make a move here. Just we're going to send it low anyways and pull it off. No contact. I think I got a little lucky there. He braked quite early and went very far outside. Didn't play defensive at all. I almost went wide here, giving him the position back, but he didn't really bite on that opportunity. And now I'm, you know, sitting in 10th place. Got about 9 seconds to the guy in front of us, so my only focus is this guy behind. I'm not going to play too defensive against this guy. I'm just trying to race clean. He doesn't care. He gets on through. Gives me a slight tap, gets a penalty for it. And then goes in front of me and brakes 50 meters too early. I don't know why he would go right in front of me just to immediately brake. Some people, I swear, they'll overtake you on, you know, a straight or something and then pull in front of you just to brake early. Like way too early. What do you, like, if you're gonna overtake, stay and brake, stay where you are, or you're just expecting to get hit. So I try to redo the move I did before. He covers to, you know, the inside, like, very aggressively. I don't even try. I just bailed immediately. Like, I'm not gonna be crazy and try to do that. I wanted to do a switchback, but he was just way too aggro on that defense. It just caught me off guard. He goes crazy wide and decides, you know what, that's enough for me, and quits, which is kind of a bummer because I thought we were having a bit of fun with that race, and that wound up just being the rest of the race. So finishing 9th place, not as good as the last two, but we're going to go into the next one at Yas Marina with a different strategy. Almost every other driver went on hards, so I decided, all right, I'm going to go on hards and not pit either, just to see if it works. If everyone else is doing it, may as well, you know, do what they're doing. And starting off into turn 1, normal bumping. Almost get a nice overtake on this purple car to our right. But it got a little scrappy, and I think we wind up losing 2 positions, both to the purple car and to the car behind. But it's fine. It's lap 1, turn 1. You can't be too upset losing 1 or 2 positions. With how these lobbies have been going, I can expect at least a third of the cars in front of me to be taken out in the next 5 minutes. Again, lose 2 more positions. It's not the end of the world. We're going to expect absolute carnage to happen anyways. But we're going to sit behind these guys in the straight, try to get in their slipstream. They're going a little left and right, so I don't even bother. Brake at the 150 board and watch the car on the inside absolutely nosedive, and then another car absolutely nosedive into us. And then, again, just absolute carnage. Penalties all over the place. Somehow, we don't get a penalty. Not insinuating that any of that was my fault, but the game loves to just throw penalties to everybody involved. And I guess technically we got an overtake because now we're in 14th. But it's not going to stick. This Audi goes on the inside and taps the car in front, and then again, I don't think that was my fault. He nosedived, and just it wasn't there, and my car just happened to be the wrong place, wrong time. Now, starting lap 2, still behind a lot of cars. Everyone's still quite bunched up. The leader hasn't even gotten away. Only 6 seconds in front of us. This guy in first has a very similar name to the guy in the last lobby, F7T Rico. It's a Diamond, so I guess maybe a clan or something. Which is always interesting to see. I feel like I see a lot of people with very similar usernames like that nowadays. So now we're in 14th, and we're gonna sit behind this large group of cars again, hoping to make a move. At the end of the straight, nothing really there, but a couple cars go wide. I don't mean to bump that pink car, but I guess it happened. I got a warning. Well, doesn't matter. Audi decided that his race was over, so I'm glad I didn't get a penalty for that, because I would have been pissed if I got penalized for that just for another driver to take him out. Like, he wasn't finishing anyways. But now we're in 13th. We're just slowly making our way up the pack. And the guy in front is, I think, a little laggy here. He was kind of teleporting left and right. Hits the wall. I nail the back of him. Luckily, don't get a penalty and just cut on the inside and get by him. I don't think he was driving poorly, but sitting behind him for a while, he was like jittering quite a bit, whether it was latency or something. I'm just happy to be in front of him now. Like right there, he just absolutely sends it and goes into me, and the game ghosts him. I think it was lag, because there's just no way. But now we have 13th on our butt. I don't play too defensive here just because I didn't think it was worth it. I don't know who in the lobby has mediums, and I'm not going to try to burn out these hard tires battling people that are going to end up hitting. Luckily, kind of able to hold the position. Wind up losing it, but I guess kind of keep it because that Golf went off. And now we're just going to sit behind the Subaru and hunt him down and continue doing what we do. Get another collision there. Luckily and happily, no penalty. Going down the main straight, lap 4. I'm going to try to make a move here. Decide to bail out, get behind him. I was hoping that he would cut over on the inside and play defensive, but he didn't, and threw me off, and I guess I corner cut there. I knew I went a little over, but I don't think I gained that much time to get 0.6. Maybe 0.3 would have been, I guess, more believable, but over half a second for that, come on. I couldn't do anything with it anyways. There's a car in front of me. But it's fine. We're gonna just live with it. Car behind, that Audi that took out the other driver, has 7 seconds of penalties, so I wanted to do whatever I could to get by this guy so I didn't have to deal with that Audi. And as you can tell, we pulled away from the guy quite a bit. I don't know whether it was just raw pace or if that Audi gave him a hard time, but we're pulling ahead, and we've caught up to 7th place, Evil Churchy, with about 3 laps to go. And in front of him is 6th and 5th. And I think even 4th up there. No one was really able to pull away here, and I think a lot of the cars in front were all on hards. So it should be similar pace, but I think we just have a bit more than they do. Now we're just gonna sit behind 7th place and kind of plan our attack. He makes a mistake, which allows us to go side by side across the start-finish line. And I think the side draft, or maybe a better exit, allows us to get in front of him, but not enough to really prevent him from taking it back, because he was just sitting on the inside. So we're going to sit behind him, and now we're in 6th place. I think a couple cars pit, so we got a couple free overtakes, I think about 2. And I'm trying my best to not touch this guy, yet play as aggressive as I can. Break around the 100-meter board. I really want him to go deep so I could, try to pull around him, and it kind of worked. Got into his draft. Again, there was no point in trying to overtake it that corner, because this straight is just so long. If you can get the draft large enough, you're just gonna zip by them. So that's exactly what I do. Get behind him, zip in front of him, and he just, break around the 100-meter board. Unfortunately, didn't compensate for how much extra speed I was getting with that draft. So I go off. I try to play a little defensive so he doesn't get a free overtake, and I pick up a 0.2 right there, which, again, feels much more believable. I definitely lost time there, but I played defensive, so I guess, honestly, maybe should have gotten more of a penalty because I just parked it, but I'm not gonna even bother, because Forza's penalties are just a dice roll every time. He almost takes us on the outside there, but isn't able to pull it off. I feel like in the Forza Touring cars, if you're going to make that overtake, you can't be on the hard tires. You have to have so much more grip. You just lose, you scrub so much speed. I respect it, though. I've only been able to pull it off a handful of times. Now, we wind up losing Evil Church. See, he drops about 2 seconds behind and actually loses the position. We go off wide there, and again, the dice roll is in our favor. No penalty. And 3rd place, which is now in 4th place, went way too wide there. And now all of a sudden, I am actually in a podium race. 4th and 3rd right in front of me on the last lap. I'm going to try to play this as safe as possible. We got pretty dead tires. And you just know going in this turn, they're going to battle. They're going to fight. But we're going to break around the 150 board. The black Audi somehow spins out there. I don't know what happened. It seemed like he had it fine, and all of a sudden his car just... The front end stopped and the back end didn't. He whipped out. Maybe he hit the curb weird or something. But looking ahead at 3rd place, he has 5.2 seconds. So in my head, I'm like, all right, whatever we do, don't pick up any more penalties. 3rd place is ours. He plays a little defensive, though. I was actually shocked. I thought he would maybe just kind of give up, but he didn't. And I'm doing whatever I can to not get a penalty or allow the guy in 5th place to be within my penalty window, which he gets dangerously close to. He parks on the apex, goes wide, but luckily for us, we're in his penalty window and the guy behind is not in our window. So we're going to finish there in 3rd place. So after about 3 hours of scrappy racing, we finally pulled it off. We got a podium. The goal today was to raise my safety rating as much as I could, which definitely didn't happen, but we almost got 2 podiums, so I have to be happy. If you made it this far, I want to say thank you. Please consider liking and subscribing, and until next time, see you guys later.